Welcome to Stellar Guy. Today we're diving into the hilariously complicated episode of Reba, called A Midsummer Night's Dream. Reba takes on a teaching role at her kids' high school, which creates both comical and chaotic moments. But when Cheyenne's friends decide they want to follow her footsteps into young marriage, things get a bit too real. Stick around as we unravel this unforgettable episode, revealing all the laughs, misunderstandings, and heartfelt moments that make Reba such a timeless classic. The episode kicks off on a humorous note as Van tells Cheyenne about a bizarre dream he had involving their baby. He's convinced he saw a goat boy, part goat, part human, sparking some lighthearted banter between the young couple. Cheyenne tries to reassure him it's only a silly dream, but they share a few laughs and jokes about the absurdity of having a baby with hooves. Reba, meanwhile, joins the conversation with some exciting news. She's been called in to her first substitute teaching job at a high school. But the twist? It's at the same high school that Cheyenne, Van, and Kyra attend, leaving Cheyenne mortified. Cheyenne pleads with her mother not to take the position, worried about how embarrassing it will be for her mom to be seen as her teacher. Reba, undeterred, tells her kids that she's ready for the job, explaining that she used to be a teacher before her marriage to Brock and has always planned to return to work someday. Kyra, ever the realist, jokes that her mom's presence at school might just be the ultimate embarrassment. Van, always supportive, cheers Reba on, though he's admittedly surprised at the idea of her teaching. The next morning, Reba heads to the high school, greeted by the principal, who is equally surprised to see Reba back in the classroom after recently pushing to have her daughter removed from the school due to her teen pregnancy. The principal explains that Reba's job as a substitute is essentially glorified babysitting, suggesting she should aim only to keep order and avoid setting the school on fire. But Reba has a bigger vision. She's determined to teach and inspire, even if it's just for a day. Once in the classroom, Reba makes a quick impact, shutting down disruptive students with her wit and motherly authority. As she introduces herself to the students, she quickly puts them in their place, noticing a student tossing paper across the room and another watching TV on a handheld device. Despite Cheyenne's embarrassment over her mom's uncool shoes and mom energy, Reba's presence impresses the rest of the students, who start to see her as a cool teacher, much to Cheyenne's chagrin. Reba begins teaching Romeo and Juliet, encouraging the students to engage with the classic love story. She quickly captivates the class with her spirited teaching style, though some students, like her own daughter, seem less than thrilled with her enthusiasm. Reba's day, however, is about to get much more complicated. Back at the house, Kyra, feeling overwhelmed, has reached out to Brock, who arrives concerned about Reba's decision to work. Brock, trying to step in, argues that the kids need a parent at home, dismissing Reba's decision to work as disruptive to their family's routine. Reba points out the irony that Brock, who's often out golfing, hasn't exactly been a present parent, and if he's so concerned, he could take on a bigger role himself. In the end, Reba reaffirms her commitment to teaching, pushing back on Brock's assumptions about what their family needs. Brock, deflated, leaves, and Reba is left feeling both energized and a bit overwhelmed by the day's events. As Reba is adjusting to her new role, Cheyenne's friends Marissa and Eric pay her a visit with news that shocks everyone. They're getting married. Inspired by Cheyenne and Van's happy marriage, they've decided they want to follow suit. The couple admits they're in love and want to take the next step. But when Reba realizes they're not even pregnant, she tries to reason with them, explaining that marriage is a huge commitment, especially at their age. Cheyenne surprisingly sides with her friends, thinking it's cute that they look up to her and Van as role models. Reba's dismay grows as she realizes her daughter doesn't quite see the difficulties of married life. Intent on giving Marissa and Eric a reality check, Reba pulls Cheyenne and Van aside, urging them to show their friends just how tough marriage can be. Though initially reluctant, Cheyenne and Van agree to help her, hoping they can convince Marissa and Eric to think twice. The three head back to Marissa and Eric, who sit down with Cheyenne and Van, expecting some romantic advice. Instead, Cheyenne and Van try their best to sound convincing about the hardships they face, mentioning how much they've had to give up, from career choices to personal freedom. Cheyenne admits that sometimes she feels crowded, realizing she rarely has time for herself, with Van always around. This revelation catches Van off guard, and a bit of tension builds as he reacts defensively, feeling like his love is under attack. Van fires back, noting that maybe she feels crowded because she never had the chance to date other people or shop around, a statement that shocks Cheyenne. They bicker about lost opportunities, with Cheyenne lamenting the life experiences she's missed, while Van tries to justify his own sacrifices. Reba, witnessing the escalating tension, steps in to explain that while marriage is wonderful, it's also a series of compromises and adjustments. She tells Marissa and Eric that if their love is real, it will endure time and distance without rushing into marriage. Eric and Marissa, realizing the weight of marriage, decide to wait, thanking Reba for her advice. The situation takes a surprising turn when Marissa's mother, outraged, contacts the school, accusing Reba of encouraging her daughter to have a relationship. The principal, hearing this, promptly dismisses Reba, who is both stunned and heartbroken. She tries to explain, but her efforts fall on deaf ears. The principal reprimands Reba, accusing her of setting a poor example by allowing Cheyenne and Van to live as a married couple under her roof, further fueling the impression that she endorses teenage marriage and parenthood. Reba returns home feeling defeated. Brock arrives, apologizing for his earlier criticism and expressing his appreciation for all the sacrifices she's made for their family, especially for Van and Cheyenne. As they talk, Reba opens up about her struggles, feeling like she's glamorized young marriage by supporting Cheyenne and Van, but Brock assures her she's done the best she could under difficult circumstances. In an emotional conversation with her mother, Cheyenne questions whether her marriage to Van was a mistake. She confesses her fears about not making it and worries that they rushed into a life neither of them was fully prepared for. Reba reassures her, explaining that while the odds may not always be in their favor, love and commitment can make a difference. She encourages Cheyenne to focus on building a marriage that works for her and Van, rather than comparing it to anyone else's. Meanwhile, Van, overhearing the conversation, decides to take action. He approaches Cheyenne, proposing a re-vow, where they reaffirm their commitment to each other. They exchange heartfelt words, playfully mimicking the vows they took on their wedding day, renewing their love with humor and a deeper understanding of their responsibilities. As the episode draws to a close, Reba gathers her family, playfully reminding them about the importance of responsibility and honesty. With Brock and the kids by her side, Reba realizes that though her life may be messy, she's created a family dynamic that works for them, and that's what matters most. And that wraps up today's episode breakdown of Reba. This episode beautifully captures the highs and lows of family life, showcasing Reba's resilience, humor, and the love that holds her family together. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into Reba and all your favorite shows. Thanks for tuning into Stellar Guy, and see you next time.